Pixie versus Grand Gara and Hero. I will be referring to these players by their colors just so that there is no confusion. Pixie will be taking the top, or will be our red player, and Garand Hero will be our blue player. Picking up the supply specialist here for blue player. I do like this. The Mustang Crawler combo is quite powerful, especially in the early game. Our red player goes with cost control specialist with tanks and crawlers. Okay. Given this current layout, I would have to give it to Pixie at least to start, but it's not bad. Grand Hero picking up 2 snipers. Really good choice here. What does our blue player do to counter this? We see pretty even deployments here from both players. It looks like our red player is going to take it a little slower. I think that's a wise decision on his part. 2 snipers coming out here for our blue player as well. He still has $100 left over. What does he want to do with it? Both players are definitely playing the economic game. I think the red player will have a little bit of an edge here to start with just because his units won't be suffering that debuff that comes with the top supply specialist. These tanks are going to be in a great spot early to engage upon these crawlers. Snipers are in a good spot as well for our blue player. I'm going to highlight the players' names, that way we can see it for ease of use. Tanks are in the center, still cleaning up crawlers. Will they be enough? Will they be able to turn around in time to clean up the rest of these Mustang on the right-hand corner? It looks like yes, and the game could go either way, but I have to give it to our blue player currently, just because he has a whole unit of tanks, plus an extra sniper. Sniper duel down the center is won by our red player, but that will be that as the tower begins to fall here. The first game, or first round of this game, will go to Pixie, our blue player. Great shooting, everyone. Round 2. Intelligent Marksman coming out here for a red player. I think that's a wise choice. I wouldn't be surprised if it's picked up as well by our blue player. However, the anti-interface module is quite good, and the heavy Mustang can be used, but I would assume he would either skip... Oh, actually going with mass-produced Rhino for some very cheap Rhino. This is not a card that we see very often. The mass-produced Rhino decreases the attack and HP of your Rhino by 30%. These Rhino are now rocking 30% minus 13% for their attack, so a total of minus 43 HP and attack, meaning that each Rhino is basically worth half of the original. Not something that you see very often here. I think the Rhinos are a fairly good pickup though. Our red player actually opting for a couple of units of Stormcallers. A pretty good choice. He just needs to knock out these tanks and snipers in the back line. He has what he needs to deal with a lot of chaff currently. I do like this Rhino choice, or at least I find it interesting. Let's watch the engagement take place down the center. Now this missile in the back line is normally used to pick up units as they're transitioning. Let's say he loses either tower here for our red player, then he would be in a much more difficult position, but having that sentry turret can make a big difference. The Rhinos get absolutely obliterated on the left-hand side, but still able to absorb a ton of damage on the right. Clearing away those units, it really came down to the angle of engagement on this one, and it looks like the right side is going to be a flop for the left, but I have to give it to our blue player, Pixie, again, just because he has quite a bit more units. Here comes that sentry that we were talking about, blammo, taking out the Rhino. Unfortunately, this sniper was caught out of bounds for our red player and is instantly taken out. These tanks are coming in a really bad deployment arc though. These Stormcallers may be able to clean up all of these tanks. And it looks like the game is going to go to our red player as the tanks are just coming in a column formation. I think that's the only time I see Stormcallers shoot well, is when the enemy is all in a straight line. That's a good arc. Oof, taking out the back line. 2 tanks versus 4 Stormcallers. It is not going to be enough. And the game is, or the round is won here by our red player. Round 3, 700 didgeridoos. Shield Specialist coming out for our red player. I do think that... Okay, Pixie taking it as well. I think that those are great choices for both players. More tanks for our blue player and some crawlers. We did see steel balls coming out for our red player. Steel balls, historically a fantastic answer to tanks. At least unupgraded tanks. Sentry coming out, and here's the Mecha Rage on the tanks for our blue player. I think this is a wise decision. Now, if you're looking at how to deploy Mustang, this is a very common and very strong way to do it. The steel balls and the Mustang travel at the same speed, meaning putting your steel balls in front of the Mustang just gives them a ton of HP. It's basically an HP shield for the Mustang. Sentry goes out, does not claim any of the Stormcallers. That's kind of a wasted sentry in my mind, and these steel balls will do an excellent job against the rhinos if they can get online in time. It looks like the rhino on the right goes down, but the rhino on the left was able to chunk through those steel balls, and it's going to be a tale of two cities once again, as the tanks are going to be able to push through on the right, or sorry, on the left, whereas the tanks on the right were just absolutely decimated. Tower goes down, but this is not going to be too big of a deal as the return tower falls. Now, normally you want your tower to fall after your opponent's, just because your units will be able then to come online a little bit faster and deal the damage that you need them to do. Man, these zoomy tanks, they might be enough to take this away. They might see another fall. Yes, 2 tanks fall in that engagement. Both players are slowed. Here comes the Mustangs back online. Will they be able to close the distance fast enough? No, the tanks come back online. And remember, these tanks are shooting a lot quicker now. That steel ball will absorb a ton of damage for these crawlers. He needs one more shot on the steel ball for it to drop. Come on, baby. Now it's one very heavy tank versus a bunch of crawlers, but those crawlers get the surround and clean them off. A small win. Both players are neck and neck. It is worth noting that our blue player has just a tiny bit more HP to play with at the beginning of the game. Junior Manufacturing Specialist dropping out for both players. A very wise decision, and I like the upgrading of most of these units. I think that's a wise decision. Level 3 sledgehammers versus 3 new level 2 snipers. There was not a lot of damage absorption on the field, so these snipers are going to do extremely good jobs, just slowly able to pick away at these tanks. Interesting choice, going with the self-detonation on these rhinos. Now, the final blitz or the self-destruct used to be played heavily in tournaments. We haven't seen it come about, and these rhinos are rocking about 50% less HP than usual. But they should still deal tons, or more than enough damage to get rid of all of these units. Even able to get rid of the steel balls. Crawlers take the shots for these rhinos, but I don't think these rhinos are long for this world. Able to claim, I don't know, 10 crawlers for their lives? Definitely not worth it at that point. He needed those crawlers to come in and absorb those shots. Friendly crawlers are able to save the tanks. Big rhino detonation on the right, but I feel like that hurt our blue player more than our red. It's now down to sniper wars, and there are a ton of more snipers on the right than there are left on the left. Are left on the left. That's kind of a fun thing to say. Ooh! I thought the sniper was going to go in on the tower. If he had claimed that tower, he may have been in a spot to actually pull this game back. But these snipers are going to be able to clean up the rest of these tanks. The tanks were already previously damaged from this engagement, and they're just not going to be enough. Hey, but the tank earned itself a level for killing a sniper. Does our blue player here... Ooh, Grand actually skipping. Blue player Pixie grabbing the smoke bomb. I think that's a wise decision. Our red player sniffs it out, though, and pops a ton of shielding. And that shielding will be extremely difficult for our blue player to get through. He doesn't really have a lot of high damage units, so that might spell the doom for him this round. Wow, more detonating rhinos. Where's he placing them? On the flanks? Yeah, there's one. There's two. That kills the majority of the meat on the field. Does he have enough to deal with these snipers is the next question. I'm not sure. There's the photon coating for the rhinos. This is a really interesting setup. Opting to eat his rhino in the back, I think that is a very wise decision. That rhino was only going to spell disaster for him, and actually having detonating rhinos on the flanks is incredibly annoying in most cases, just because what do you do to counter that? You have to get something that's super long range and deals a ton of damage very quickly. But these units are kind of out of luck, out of a prayer. The rhino dies before it's able to actually get into range. Unfortunate. The other detonations go off without really much of a more of a fizzle than a bang. Unfortunate. And now these shields are able to absorb a ton of damage. Here comes the second rhino, and he's in a much better spot, taking out a unit of steel balls for his troubles. Unfortunately, these level 2 steel balls on the right are going to be able to absorb a ton of tank shots before finally dropping. There's still a few tanks left, but I don't think they're going to have nearly the DPS that he needs. As the march of the snipers, this is a real problem that you can find yourself in with games, is that our red player has a ton of extremely good units in the form of these snipers, and he's already able to take care of a lot of the chaff. Top supply specialist coming out here for our red player. I think that... Oh, Pixie grabs it too. Blue and red both grabbing top supply. Both players have a ton of specialists, opting not to grab a lot of unit cards. The Rhino will finally be online. He'll come in here and detonate, which will take out both the flanks. There is a sniper to help ping him away, though. It may be enough damage to kill these rhinos before they come in. I think the time of the rhino is over. I think the time of mass Stormcaller, or he's unlocked Fang. I don't think that's the choice here, unless he's planning on popping some Fang in front of these rhinos. No, instead opting for more crawlers. I think that, yes, I think this is the decision he needs to make. There really isn't a lot of anti-chaff on the field, and just having a, I don't know, make these guys level 2 in my mind. Just having a bunch of these units online could work. Unfortunately, the thing with crawlers is that if arc lights come out, if a Vulcan comes out, I mean, what do? You kind of just die, right? There isn't really a lot of options here. Okay. And steel balls, interesting. Now I do see Fang unlocked for for a red player. Will he? He doesn't have the ability to play anymore, but where would he want these Fang? Maybe in front of his Stormcallers, just to draw away the Rhino aggression? Wow, and those crawlers able to draw away a ton of sniper shots, and in come the Rhinos in a really good spot. Oof, taking out the tower. He's going to grab the second tower as well, and this is going to go very differently than the last couple of rounds. Both these flanks were destroyed by the Rhinos as well. Oh my word. All of a sudden, our blue player is looking to be in a very dominant position. Tons of crawlers and steel balls. This is going to be a lot of damage. That's all he needed, was the breakthrough. The moment that the breakthrough happened, you saw that huge collapse of units. All of these units are moving very quickly. Swarm coming out for a red player. I wouldn't be surprised if the Swarm came out for the blue too. And Hackers coming down. I think this is a wise decision. Hackers with range and shields, just to try and turn these Rhinos around. Unfortunately, he has to grab these Rhinos before they come in contact with his units. Having three Hackers on the field may be enough, though. Grabbing the anti-interface module here for our blue player, and more steel balls. I like this. Rhinos now have 25% more HP. That means that they'll just be dealing a lot more damage. Unfortunately, he does not have the immunity to mind control. So, I'm not sure. Oh, this anti-interface module will give him immunity to mind control. Did he sniff out that mind controllers are a thing? I don't know. Also, I don't think that these Hackers will be able to do the damage quick enough to stop these Rhinos from detonating. More Rhinos coming out. Another on the right-hand flank. I see. He opted to eat his Rhino on the left to play a Rhino on the right. Good decision. grabbing the range increase on all of his units as well. So let's see if this hacker's able to do enough damage. It is. Oh, it is on both sides. This is not great. Oh, no. The Rhino in the center, if it... Yeah, I was going to say, if one dies, it suddenly goes all wrong. These Wasps are basically uncontested, though. And they're going to draw away all the sniper fire for quite a while. Hackers are being decimated by crawlers. These crawlers having the ability to go underground and then reclose the distance is huge. Level 3 tanks are turning towards the enemy, though. Ooh, and we're seeing the tanks come in on these snipers. Not great. In come the crawlers, though, and these crawlers will probably make the difference as they're able just to munch through all of the units on the ground. Will it be enough? Tanks will get converted over very quickly. He needs to get this tower. He gets it, but I don't think it's going to be enough, as these hackers will eventually turn the friendly tanks into enemy tanks. And what's really annoying, when this happens, your guns take forever to swivel. Pixie, our blue player, in a tough spot now. He can follow his own rhinos in with something to die, and that could make a difference. There still isn't a lot of anti-chaff, only 2 arc lights. Some level 3 to level 2 crawlers would do quite a good job here. Both players opting to grab the underground threat. I think a wise decision. These rhinos' lives are forfeit on the right, in fact, becoming a danger. He's opting to choose to throw his rhino straight at the tower. Probably a wise decision. Underground threat here on the left. These tanks might be able to catch it out. And there is already a tower, or a sentry. I don't know. Yeah, he's opting to remove these rhinos. I think that's a wise decision. And instead grabbing overlords. Interesting choice. There are some exceedingly heavily upgraded marksmen on the field currently. I'm not sure if that will work. I do love the mass shielding here. These shields will be able to absorb a ton of tank fire. Tanks have pretty good splash damage, but not the most overall damage. Several sentries coming out as well. We've got 15 seconds left. Our blue player still has $100, and he drops a shield. Oh, but this might be the crucial upgrade. These steel balls being able to mechanically divide is absolutely huge. The Rhino will drop on the right side for our red player, dealing a lot of damage. Rhino in the center is barely taking any damage from those hackers. Hacker drops, Rhino explodes. We move on. The left flank is definitely not going in the way of our blue player. We see more underground threats coming in. Hacker will fall here, and we still have plenty of steel balls. Those steel balls are absolutely huge because they're able to deploy crawlers after their deaths. All of a sudden, these hackers and snipers have a lot more to shoot at. Tanks are all converted by the hackers. But once the conversion is done and the towers fall, this is going to be a huge amount of damage. A very back and forth game. That's what I like to see. Our red player and blue player are both definitely in the danger zone. Mobilized battleship coming out here for our red player. Both players opting for the mobilized battleships. Photon coating as well. I think Wasps might be a good answer for both players at this point. Instead, our red player opting to grab a ton more mind control units. Blue grabbing with a ton more overlords. Okay. With the Wasp upgrade, I do think that this is the proper choice. Choosing to eat his own rhino there on the right for blue, a really good decision. Red still has $200. What does he do with it? Spends it on missiles? Spends it on missiles. Okay. These rhinos are immune to slow, but they're not the thing that's going to take most of the missile hits. It will actually be these two crawlers in the center. $100 left. He could upgrade a couple of crawlers. He could upgrade maybe a unit of steel balls. No, instead opting to get another unit of crawlers. Not a bad decision. Is he going to have them flow in late? No, he has them come in early. Okay. We will see how this goes. Oh, and actually upgrading one of the rhinos. This does give it significantly more HP, but there are a ton of hackers now here to meet it. And these hackers are mostly being used for their shields at this point. But they are very good at turning around things like tanks. Damage comes in. Oh! Oh! Both rhinos. All of these rhinos are going to be turned against their parent player and actually deal a significant amount of damage to them. That is horrible. Alright, it's going to come down to snipers. If the snipers can shoot down wasps quick enough, then he's going to be in a very good spot. If the snipers cannot shoot down wasps quick enough, then these mama ships have a lot to chunk through on their own as well. First mothership goes down. There are a few overlords. Second, third overlords go down. It is not going to be enough here. We see snipers being converted by hackers. Hackers have won the day, baby. Great plays here by both players. Pixie, I hope that you continue to play in the tournaments. Fantastic job here by Grand Hero. Let's take a look and see who else is playing. Oh, Kebab won. Good for Kebab. Let's take a look at Yoga versus Fike. Oh, wow. Both players are on their last legs here. This is just a little chef's kiss of extra damage. Okay. Interesting layouts. Both players have a ton of units. Motherships are redeploying. Wow. Our red player only has 4 units selections here. That's really interesting. Yoga opting for, what is that, 7 units? 7 unit types, I guess, would be an easier way of saying that. Interesting choices. And we do see a lot of heavy upgrades across the board. Okay. Stormcallers, more Stormcallers. I love to see it. I'm a big fan of Stormcallers, even though they tend to abuse me. I like these crawlers. They're deployed in a good spot. Okay. I can't tell you who I think is going to win, but I think these overlords are going to play a big part in that. Being able to shoot much quicker, as well as having the old Miyamoto cannon. This overlord artillery just means that they'll always be shooting at the ground when necessary. The fire is going to do a ton of damage here. We still have a lot of Fang on the field. And the Fang are able to absorb a ton of damage from these steel balls. Wow, Mass Stormcaller. Will he ever have enough damage? I think he will. Our blue player's forces are marching down the field. The Overlord's drops. Oh, and that's that. These Mustang are not going to be enough to clear up what's left. Vulcans, standing proud. You love to see it. There's some very powerful giant units. I love a good Vulcan. Even though they were nerfed in the most recent patch, they still just perform very well. Burn, baby, burn. Finish him. There you go. Before your Stormcallers all burn to death. Did you see those Stormcallers getting pushed around? Yeah, they have the launcher. That's pretty fun. I love the zoomy units. Alright guys, we will see you back in the next round. Live ranking. Alright everybody, we've got 8 seconds left. I hope that you all have been enjoying these tournaments, enjoying the casting. If you don't mind, please like and subscribe, and let's get into it. Our blue player will be Sorry, this is why I refer to them as blue players. Our blue player will be LXM. Our red player will be Zhaojing. I hope I said that correctly. Opting for the cost control specialist. By far one of my favorite specs, and I think he has a pretty interesting army setup. What does our blue player LXM choose here? Aerial spec. Interesting. He doesn't know it, but actually choosing this, well, he does know it now. Choosing this aerial specialist does pretty much hard counter these Phoenix that we see on the floor currently. Also, these Phoenix being significantly weaker, this could be a really interesting setup. The Fang have to deploy near the front. Unfortunately, they don't have really any support, but our blue player can unlock something that is quick enough to draw away the fire of these Stormcallers. Opting to go in with a second wave of crawlers, I think these Fang's lives are basically forfeit at this point. Our red player still has $200 on the field, opting for crawlers as well. Crawlers really do dominate the meta currently. They're probably... Oh! Okay, they're very aggressively placed here. I'm assuming this is just to get them out of the way so we could click on other units. No. Actually just having some very aggressive crawlers right in the center. It is going to draw a ton of units forward, which, you know what? This was probably done. That way these Stormcallers will always have a huge amount of things to shoot at. I think this is actually a really good play, as the Stormcallers on the right are able to clean away the Fang. These crawlers force an engagement in the center where the majority of the Stormcallers are able to fire at, and now he can use these Fang to clear away the Phoenix. This is just beautiful deployment here by LXM. Absolutely gorgeous. Will there be enough Fang to actually cut through these Phoenix? Hard to tell. By the way, I wanted to apologize for my constant slipping on with the words. It is like 6 o'clock in the morning my time, so ungodly. I have a nice double shot espresso to wake me up. Alrighty. Laser sights coming out here for our blue player. Interesting. He might... Oh, okay. Laser sights coming out for both players. I absolutely love laser sight on Vulcan. Vulcan, their attacks aren't huge, right? Normally at 86 because of the reduced damage from the specialist here, dropping him down to 74. But the problem that a lot of Vulcan have is range. And if he can grab this range upgrade again, this guy's going to have more range than snipers and Stormcallers. Insanity. What do we see? Phoenix coming out here for LXM, most likely. Okay. I think it could work. And also the high mobility upgrade for these crawlers I think is going to be a very useful thing. He doesn't know it yet, but this Phoenix will actually pay dividends. He doesn't want to position it too far forward though, because he doesn't know that this Vulcan is here. He's going to want those Phoenix near the front. Oh no, he's going more with like a bulldozer approach. I kind of like this. These Stormcallers are going to be able to target down this Vulcan here, but I think the Phoenix are going to shoot down enemy Phoenix. Yeah, they do. Okay, well, there isn't really much to contest him any longer, so I believe this will very much go in the way of our blue player. And having that first giant unit on the field really does make a big difference. How many kills has this guy at already? 80, 90, 96. Topping the charts for the entirety of his army. Really important. And I love being able to check on those unit stats. Oh. Oh, wow. All of these cards are extremely useful. Our red player grabbing the supply specialist. Does the blue as well. That would put him at an extra 150 a turn. It's basically... I mean, I would go for it. I think that's a very good play, at least this early in the game. No, actually opting for the nano repair, or the barrier even. Okay. Well, this does help even things up on the supply a little bit. Not a huge amount, but a little bit. Does he deploy another giant? He does. And I'm assuming he's going to slap the barrier on this bad boy. Now, this barrier does not scale, so it isn't as good as a level 2 fortress with his upgraded barriers, but hey, you know what? It's slightly better than a regular shield, so why not? I think getting a couple more units of crawlers here would be good for both player as well. Not so much for our red player, as there's now 2 Vulcans on the field, but you know, just having some more chaff never really hurts. Both players are sitting on $50. We see the sentry go down. And I think these Phoenix lives are again forfeit. Where? Oh. This. Did he grab the mobility again? He did. Okay, I was about to say, these Fang are really chugging along. Interesting that he's choosing to, that our blue player is choosing to grab the high mobility over things like another sentry turret. I think he needs to bring these Vulcan into range quickly, and that's why he's choosing to grab the speed upgrade. As well as, last time he had the speed upgrade, his Phoenix were able to get online quickly enough to take out the enemy Phoenix. Even though those enemy Phoenix have greater range, he's just able to speed down there and get rid of them. All of these crawlers will die. All of these Stormcallers will die. And this is actually a significant amount of damage coming out on our red player, LXM. Blammo. Round 3. Round 4. I don't like that there's always like that long pause. Ooh, parasitic ammo. Yes, baby. This is exactly what you want from Vulcan or units with a lot of ping potential, i.e. splash damage. The fire coming out here on the left-hand side, and acid coming down from the crawlers. We don't see acid used very often, but it is one of the best defenses against slow-moving giant units and things like heavily upgraded tanks and steel balls. Unfortunately, the range on this Vulcan will now make it so that I don't think they'll step into the acid. He needs something to answer these Vulcans a little bit better. Yes, I think the Stormcallers are a good choice. However, I would like to see maybe something like a Melting Point or Mass Phoenix. He is an aerial specialist, so grabbing 5 units of Phoenix might be pretty good here. Phoenix are one of those units that scale really well the more than you have on the field at a time. Ooh, the fire comes down and just absolutely melts Crawlers and Fang. Crawlers and Fang, baby. Crawlers and Fang. Able to absorb a ton of damage here on the shield. The shielding actually working out exceedingly well. And able to cook off quite a few Stormcallers on the right, but unfortunately these shields have so much HP. These Vulcan are going to be alone and afraid here in just a moment. And I think that will be that. All he has to do is kill these Fang. If he comes online on the Fang quick enough... Nope. The Phoenix will fall. Down go the Fang to their own fire. And this Vulcan, I believe, is sitting in the acid? It looks like he's got a foot in the acid. And his health was dropping there without taking any damage, so... Hey, he's still going to win this. Wow. That is a very tough Vulcan. Oh my god. The drunk Stormcaller. Somehow he misses a literal giant tower. That tower is the size of the Vulcan. Like, just insanity that your Stormcallers can miss that, but they can. You'd think in the far future Stormcallers would have like laser-guided missiles or something. They just don't. Mass-produced Wasps. I do like this. Because LXM is an aerial specialist, this just means that his Wasps only need the range. And there really is not a lot of anti-air here. Here comes the Parasitic ammo. I think that's a very good decision. Show me Wasps. Show me Wasps. Both players opting for Wasps. Oh. Is he going to be recycling the Wasps? Is that bug still in play? Well, it doesn't look like it. Only 1 unit of Wasps? Or are they coming out on the flanks? Yes. Wasps on the flanks. Unfortunately, this one on the left will be absolutely gutted by its counterparts, but hey, such is life. Let's see what's going on here. Lots of firepower. Okay. These Wasps on the right may be enough to kill the tower in time. If they can take out that tower, this might go in the way of our red player, but it's not looking good. There's a ton of crawlers being spawned out onto the field. Look at those guys. There goes the tower, but it's too little too late. These Wasps had to spawn in, and unfortunately they're not moving too quickly. Yeah, that is unfortunate. Oh well. They have shields. That's kind of fun. They'll never be able to kill these Vulcan, but they'll be able to stand around and shoot for an extra 30 seconds. So that's nice. You know, just get slowly killed. Poor little wasps. You can do it. I do like that they that units on the ground, when they're underneath a flying unit, will actually try and like menace them. They'll sit under there with like you know, their rifles or something and shake it. In this case, the Vulcan will spin up their powers. Orbital bombardment coming out here for Alex. Okay, both players choosing to grab the orbital bombardment. Huge bombardment here for our blue player. Shielding on the wasps. Lots of wasps. Just wasps fighting wasps on both sides. I think it's time to move these guys back. He cannot reposition his wasps for our red player. A good amount of shielding across the front for our red player. Really, those shields bought him so much time previously. Now he just needs some units that deal long-range damage. I think getting several units of Phoenix or several units of long-ranged Wasps would be really good here. The range increase on these Wasps, plus having an extra 10 range increase would be phenomenal. Or, heck, grab some Overlords, man. Overlords do exceedingly well against Vulcan because Vulcan can't shoot them. Of course, there are two slightly upgraded Phoenix on the floor currently. Oh, wow. This Phoenix on the right here is actually doing quite well, getting quite a few kills. Hey, that's something. Crawlers in the center are here to fight the enemy crawlers, just so that way that when the acid does spawn from this massive crawler mayhem, his Vulcans won't be close enough to actually be hurt by it. Here comes the Stormcaller fire. It looks pretty good. The shields are protecting very well currently for both players. It only takes one good missile. Ooh, just decimate these units of Phoenix, though. There goes the Phoenix on the left. Wasps in the center aren't going to be able to hold. And unfortunately, ooh, these Wasps are cut off by a level 3 unit of Fang. That's not something you see very often. What are these guys shooting at? Are they shooting at the Vulcan? I think they're shooting at the Vulcan. The Vulcan will take forever to die. It will eventually die. But I'm not sure before, yeah, not before everybody else does. That's unfortunate. This will most likely be enough damage to take out our red player. Good game by both players, but hey, it's hard to get rid of Vulcan, man. You have to transition very quickly, and if you've already invested heavily into chaff units, Vulcan can really make that difference. Oh wow, there's still quite a few games going on. Let's just hop in and watch one. I think we can take a look at... oh, Kebab isn't actually streaming. Yeah, let's take a look at Kebab versus Corner. If you haven't watched, Kebab Sniffer is a German streamer. I would highly recommend his channel. He is very fun to watch. I'm not aware of Corner. Looks like Kebab's in a really good spot here. Are these rhinos detonating? No. That would have been fun. They do have the option. The rhino on the right is able to push right into the tower, and a ton of crawlers to deal with the steel balls. Oh no! Flanking Phoenix. Tower drops at a good time though. Oh, this poor melting point. It has a ton of HP. Will it be enough? Oh, it just survives. That was unfortunate. I would have thought those steel balls had that. Oh, and the sniper just taking out this rhino right at the wrong time. That rhino is surrounded by crawlers, but the crawlers just did not care. They may all eventually get cleaned up here. They need to kill this. Oh no. Wow. Man, how do I get Stormcallers like that? If those were my Stormcallers, they would have missed every shot and I would have been swarmed, absolutely swarmed by crawlers. But no, those Stormcallers knew what they were doing. Do they have the splash damage upgrade? No, electromagnetic shock. Okay. Very good options here for everybody. I'd like to see the super heavy armor. Parasitic ammo is always extremely powerful, but the barrier tends to be the choice. Oh, that's why. The improved firepower is huge. Who grabbed the parasitic ammo? And where did it go? He placed it, oh, on the Stormcallers. A very good choice. I do love all of these replicating crawlers. I'd love to see the crawlers get another upgrade. There isn't a lot here that deals with the crawlers. Instead, opting for Mustang with range. Okay, just to clear away these Fang. Mustang do a phenomenal job at clearing away Fang. I think that these are all wise decisions. Missiles coming out on either flank. More missiles. Okay. Just to safeguard. I think the Vulcan have pretty much tuned out these crawlers. That's why we're not seeing any other investments. Another Vulcan on the right would really clear this away here for Kebab Sniffer. But he's not going for it, and that's okay. Instead, opting to get a melting point of his own. Oh, that poor melting point. Distracted by Mustang. Unfortunate here. Will these Fang clear it up quick enough? No. The crawlers get in and the melting point is on the right target. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. That's unfortunate here for Kebab Sniffer, our blue player. Lots of steel balls, too. Well, although the tower drops, no, I think this is unfortunately, not unfortunately, going to go in the way of corner. So that way we have a little bit more of a game on our hands. Man, these level 3 Stormcallers just deal so much damage. Each shot coming in at 2,986 damage. Just able to melt away this melting point. Unfortunately, he does fall. And Kebab Sniffer is looking at facing another round in this game. Probably not what he wanted. There are some games where I just don't want them to stop. I really enjoy just watching the units continue to pile up, but in several of these, it's like, come on, man. Just let me win. Amp Core versus Firebomb. Well, a Firebomb right down the center. Yeah, putting it on his own lands, and I think that that's really important. Having a fire come down and clear away these crawlers just means that this melting point will come online against the enemy melting point at a much better time. I'd like to see another Vulcan in this right-hand corner, as well as possibly some Overlords or some other flying chaff unit just to get in here and deal the damage. Wow. Our blue player choosing to place a melting point on the flank. 2 melting points on the flank. That is not something you see very often. Here's the extra Vulcan. He's going to come right down the center. I think that's a great idea, or right on this right-hand flank where we were talking about earlier. I think that's a great idea. With this, he should be able to clear away almost everything, and then he'll have to deal with a melting point. The melting point on the flank, though, that's not something you see every day. Both crawlers coming down. There it is. I was going to say, is there going to be a shield here on this tower? And yes, there is. A lot of these units could use an upgrade. Even just upgrading this sniper to level 3 could make a big difference. Let's see how it goes. I'm really interested in seeing these melting points on the flanks. I believe this melting point here on the right is pretty much doomed. Oh, it's coming in. And he drew away a lot of the Fang support. This could be it. Oh, wow. These melting points actually going after chaff. Interesting. That means they're going to be significantly weaker to things like the Vulcan if only 1 or 2 beams are shooting. But no, there's enough crawlers here to push through, and those Vulcan were not able to deal with the chaff in time. And the melting points both survive. Oh my god, this is going to be so much damage. He has 1 final bastion here on the left, but I don't think it's going to be enough. These crawlers, unless we get some heroic Stormcaller shots again, which don't look to be the case, they're going to be able to kill all the Stormcallers and spawn a ton more crawlers. Wow. This is a lot of damage here on Kebab. Oof. Round 9. This is... most games are ending around between round 7 and round 10. This could be it. The Firestorm might be or Lightning Storm might be exactly what both players need in order to close out this game. There's no real reason to grab the skill specialist at this point. Kebab going with the lightning storm. Very good choice. And he's opting to use it on this left-hand side again. Slowing down all of these units is important. But what's more important is, I was going to say, is killing tech or killing crawlers. Oh, he's in a really tough bind here. More melting points. More money. Corner still has $550 in the bank. What is he going to do? Wasps. Man, I was thinking about wasps for a while now. There really is not a lot of anti-air. These Fang will be able to deal with it eventually. But 2 units, 3 units of wasps? Put them all on the flanks. Just keep this flank going. It could work. Right now, the flanks are dealing enough damage to actually keep Kebab on his toes. Man, this missile coming down, though, is going to do great work. Yeah, here's the wasps, and they're going to protect a ton of these units from the incoming damage. This melting point will not be able to answer it very well. No lightning storm, though. Kebab might just win this with a lightning storm, able to close off a lot of these units. And a Vulcan in the back. Okay. Vulcan in the back is going to do exceedingly well here. Cleaning up these level 3 crawlers. There's just not a lot of meat at the front, unfortunately. The left side is looking a lot better than before. It's not looking great, mind you, but it's looking better. The right is somewhat cleaned up, and this Vulcan is on the tower. Whose tower will drop first? It's gonna be Old Corners. Then comes the second tower. Not a big deal. There is still a melting point. The question is, will there be enough damage once this game is settled to actually end the rounds? And at this point, the answer is looking like yes. Is there anything left? No. And the game goes to Kebab Sniffer, our red player. Fantastic job. Again, if you haven't checked out his Twitch, please do so. Alrighty, guys. We will see you in the next round. And we're back. Riley will be representing the red team in our top corner, followed by Kobe's, who will be our blue player. Going with the cost control specialist again. I like this. Marksman plus Mustang. Very good set of units. What is Riley going to pick up here? Speed's looking pretty good, actually. Supply not looking terrible. And hey, maybe you go with the Rhino spec and a headbutt. We shall see here in a moment. Rhino spec. Okay, interesting choices. Now, we have seen both of these players on the channel before. They both do extremely well and participate in quite a few tournaments. Let's see. Mass Crawler? Okay. Very interesting choice. I do like having these 3 snipers. That will be very good for him. Opting instead for a 3rd unit of steel balls and having all of his units come in this very interesting deployment. Okay. He's opting to protect his steel balls with these crawlers. These crawlers do move at the exact same speed as steel balls, but just having this little bit of them stick out in front of these steel balls is really important. Just so that way the snipers will shoot at these few little crawlers out in front beforehand. I don't think Riley will have enough here in order to deal with the Mustang. The Mustang will chip through all of the crawlers, and then the snipers will get back online, but we shall see. We shall see. Our blue players' units are slowly being picked off. The next question is, are there enough snipers? And the answer might be no here on the right. The left, definitely yes. These Mustang are able to do just enough to chip damage. And in come the rhinos, or sorry, the steel balls. They're kind of like rhinos. Oof, and the sniper's taking 3 shots to kill them. That is unfortunate. This will go in the way of our red player, though. Man, I will see you guys on round 2. Round 2, and our blue player Riley took some hits there, opting to skip pretty much immediately. Very quick choice there. and grabbing a unit of Mustang to follow in these steel balls. Okay. And a unit of crawlers. Our red player opting for some Stormcallers. He knows that there was a huge engagement that happened in these corners. So if he's able to just capitalize on that with some good splash damage and good regular damage from these Stormcallers, he'll be in a good spot. We'll see what happens. These steel balls are now level 2, so they'll be able to absorb so much more damage. And this cost control specialist is hurting our red player a little bit now as these units continue to grow in HP. The Mustang are in a pretty okay spot, able to clear away a lot of these crawlers. In come the Stormcaller shots though, and they whiff in a big way. Ooh, that is not what you want to see. Wow. Well, the Stormcallers were able to clear it up on the left. Will they be able to clear up a lot of these Mustang on the right? The answer is yes. This is much more even than our last game. Unfortunately, for our red player, his tower drops second. I've mentioned it before in this recording, and I'll continue to mention it. You normally want your tower to drop last, just so that way your units are weakened during travel time. And the re-engagement takes place. I think that this is actually going to go in the way of our red player, especially with that tower dropping. The steel ball is moving at a snail's pace, and that will be that. Will these Stormcallers ever be able to shoot down? Ooh, well, some good shots there. Blammo! Eventually getting those Fang. Riley, our Lion King, taking a bit more damage here. But now he's powerful. Oh. The speed specialist could be great, but instead opting for subsidized steel balls. Let's see. Tons of crawlers. And he's choosing to deploy the crawlers in his own backline. Well, there's not really a lot of point to deploy them in the enemy's line, that's for sure. And the smoke in his own line. Okay. He just knows that these steel balls come in right here. A lot of Fang. I think that this is a great choice. These Fang are meant to delay. And he knows that this Rhino is coming in. I'd be really nervous about this Rhino deploying on one of my flanks. If that were to happen, there's really not a lot to stop the Rhino. A lot more Stormcallers, a lot of Steel Ball Mustang combos. And a ton of crawlers here as well. You know, one Vulcan with something else that clears away medium-sized units well. And this game definitely goes in the hands of a red player with the current deployment. Man, look how many extra crawlers have just popped out. That will be huge in continuing to delay the enemy and allowing these Stormcallers to do the damage that they need. They do not have the splash damage upgrade, which in this case may be useful as it would allow... Oh, these snipers actually walking into the smoke. You hate to see it. He doesn't have enough single point damage in order to get rid of these crawlers as of yet. But those Stormcallers landing quite a few good shots, clearing away the entire back line. Are there any crawlers or anything left here? I don't think so. And this aggression is being blunted. Riley's lost the third round in a row. Can our red player Kobe's continue the domination? He's got the They Are Billions logo on top of a Santa Claus outfit. Very interesting choice in avatar. I like the supply specialist here. It's only round 4. That extra $50, let's say we get to round 10, will add up. The fire here for Kobe's could be huge. All of these units run in. Dropping fire on either flank would be exceedingly powerful. No, instead opting for the amp core. He might choose to put the amp core on a Stormcaller, just so that way it deals a ton of damage to these steel balls. Lots of Stormcallers for Riley, our blue player. Interesting choice. He needs to cut through and deal damage to the backline. Vulcan to help clear away any of these extra units. I don't know if... Oh my god, those Stormcaller shots were furious. I don't know if this Vulcan will ever shoot the right targets, though. That's why you put your steel balls out front. Just because they're going to be absorbing a ton of the damage and a ton of the fire from this Vulcan. Yeah, the Vulcan just basically nothing. It's 25 kills. That's That's pittance, and these Stormcallers were more than enough to completely swing the battle. Able to kill off all those Fang. These shields were in the wrong spot for sure. For sure. And this Rhino's just punching Stormcallers. Look at him go! He's gonna earn himself a level, maybe. Maybe not. Rhinos actually take a long time to go up in experience. Riley with a very dominant win here, able to push the game back more in his favor. He still has less than 1,000 HP than his enemy, but hey, could help. Acid for Kobe. Very good against the majority of these beefy units. Not so great against these Stormcallers. Eventually he'll be able to take them out. Riley's got cash. What does he opt for? More Stormcallers. Interesting choice. The air is currently completely uncontested. There is, what, 2 units of Mustang? 3 units of Mustang? I would think that Kobe's could consider grabbing some Overlords or mass Wasp. But man, look how many Stormcallers are on the field now. I do like the usage of these crawlers just to draw away Stormcaller shots. I'm not sure that they're going to be enough though, as unfortunately these shields aren't going to protect very well. Here comes the acid. All of Kobe's units are walking into his own acid. Definitely not ideal. The acid will do a lot more tick damage against these heavier units, that's for sure, but the Vulcan's basically half dead before even making contact with the enemy. Not ideal by any means. And there's still just mass Stormcallers here. I think Riley is in an extremely dominant position now. Perhaps grabbing a few Mustang for Kobe that shoot down missiles would be good, but at this point there's so many Stormcallers on the field. Yeah, I'm not sure on this one. I'm going to try and steal this build, actually. This is a very interesting build. Kobe's taking a ton of damage. An absolute ton of damage. Let's see here. Senior Attack Specialist coming out for both players. These Stormcallers, although have been dealing quite a bit of damage, none are ready to upgrade. There's the Mustang that we were talking about earlier here for our red player. He has a lot of Mustang now. Those should be enough to kill the Stormcaller shots. The range coming out for the Stormcallers. Oof. And a lot more Stormcallers. My word. Let's see if these Mustang are enough to kill. If they can cut down even 3/4 of the Stormcaller DPS, he will be in a much better spot here for a red player. Wow, that is so many Stormcallers. Riley, you know how to play this game, because Stormcallers are life. Still not really any aerial units. Man, but all those Stormcallers missing. That first barrage going off the wrong way is really important. If the Stormcallers here for our red player had range as well, they could have been firing for quite a bit longer. Yes, and he's absolutely neutering the Stormcaller's DPS, allowing the Vulcan to get online and start killing Mustang. Wow, what a difference. Now, all of the Mustang have pretty much dropped for both players, and it comes down to a Stormcaller duel. I'll have to give it over to Riley once again, as his Stormcallers just have significantly more range. And this will be a good amount of damage coming onto our red player again. Well, he gets 2 Stormcallers for his troubles. Ooh, Stormcallers do hit hard at 50 damage apiece. Lightning Storm here for Kobe's, our red player. Does Riley also pick it up? Yes, Riley, our blue player, has picked up Lightning Storm as well. Here comes the second Vulcan. And some Phoenix. Okay. Just having a unit of Phoenix on the field near the end game could swing this. 2 shields. And a Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm right down the center will absolutely massacre Vulcan. Here comes the smoke. Does Riley get enough shields? He has 3. He has the opportunity to get 4 more. Oh my god. Mass Stormcaller. Mass Stormcaller. I would love it if both players grabbed a little bit more aerial units. Man, look at all those Stormcaller shots. That is insanity. The lightning's coming down. If the lightning is enough to break the shields, then we should see a lot of dead Stormcallers. Oh, and the storm just dissipates right before all the Stormcallers fall. That is just unfortunate. The fire is going to do a lot of damage as well. Able to burn away a ton of these units. Well, these shields will really tell a tale. It's close. It is very close. Here comes some more fire, able to burn down a lot more Stormcallers. Unfortunately, the Stormcallers here for Riley have range, and that could make all the difference. Really need to get the range upgrade here, but the tower drops. Unfortunately, in most cases, one Stormcaller shot is enough to kill a friendly Stormcaller or an enemy Stormcaller, even with your tower dropped. Oh my god. This one crawler could actually swing it. It really does depend on how aggressive this little crawler baby is. He goes after the tower. He'll get the tower. And go, little crawler, go. If he's able to get in under the minimum range, he's under the minimum range. I don't think these Stormcallers can physically kill this crawler anymore. Nope. He's too close. Eventually, this little crawler will do it. Wow, winning by a crawler. No! Time runs out! Oh, that's unfortunate. Wow, the one little crawler that could. I bet he was screaming, "Why didn't you upgrade me?" Riley opting to skip. Kobe's grabbing the super heavy armor on this Vulcan. Very important. Oh my god. Mass Stormcaller upgrades. Gee Louise, Riley. Finally, our red player Kobe's grabs the range on his Stormcallers. Alright, both players spent a lot of money on tech and upgrades. Here's some more Phoenix. We didn't see the Phoenix perform overly well before, but having 4 of them now, or 4 units. Where's the other unit? Where'd it go? He had one previously. Did he opt to move it? He doesn't have the recycle. I could have sworn. Ah, there it is. Nope. Maybe I'm crazy. I could have sworn that there was another Phoenix on the field. Riley's burning the midnight oil, grabbing an extra 200 bucks. He thinks this could be the last round of the game. And some more steel balls. Okay. Will the aerial switch make a difference? Yes, there are 4 units of Phoenix. I am not crazy. Ha! 6 a.m. Joe. By the way, that's my real name, so whoopsies. And more Stormcallers. Okay. I think these Mustang are kind of outplayed by the missiles at this point. Getting another 2 units of missile killers would be huge. Ooh. All of those Fang dying. That's gonna hurt. The missiles get shot down, but I think there might be just too many missiles. Man, these Vulcan laying down that fire is really important as it clears away a ton of the back line. He just needs to clear off these Mustang. All of the Mustang drop. There's a couple more, but I think... Oh, no. The Phoenix hold. There's several Phoenix left on the field, and I don't believe there's any Mustang left. This game can only go one way, and that's in the way of our red player. How do you beat Mass Stormcaller? You either shoot down their missiles, or you take to the skies. And that's that. Question now becomes, how quickly can these Phoenix clear up Stormcallers in order to ensure as much damage as possible? We're about to find out. Now, of course, Phoenix can be countered by the Mustang that are already on the field. If those Mustang had the anti-aerial upgrade, then I believe they would pick out those Phoenix beforehand and just shoot them down. Well, this isn't going to be the most damage coming out on Riley, our blue player, but it is going to be a significant amount, helping to even things up. Oh, Riley opting to skip again. What did Kobe's pick up? The skill specialist. Okay, he does already have 4 unit cards. And having this acid come out early is important. Riley's probably checking against this and thinks, okay, I don't need to worry too much about shielding at the moment. Grabbing a ton more Mustang. What do we see here? It looks like some more Phoenix. I don't know if it's good or bad. These Phoenix now have range. Opting for the long range from Kobe's, our red player. Both players are burning the midnight oil here. Kobe's needs to realize he has the acid. Yeah, he drops it. Oh, the shield from Riley is really good, though. It won't cover him fully from the acid. Wow, Riley. Were you able to sniff this out somehow? That is phenomenal placement on these shields. Of course, it makes sense for him to try and protect all of his Stormcallers. The acid will still come down, and I believe it'll get a little bit here. He does not kill off the crawlers, so the first barrage comes in, and it basically is sacrificial. This fire is really important, though. Look how many of these Mustangs crawl into the fire and die. Oh, that's so important. More Mustangs standing in the fire. If those Mustangs drop, again, there's nothing to contest the Phoenix now, and this game can only go one way. Wow, really great play here, having these Vulcan just absolutely decimate rhinos. Decimating the Mustang. All right, really big comeback here. It might not be enough to kill Riley. Oh, it is. Oh, wow, it's way more than enough. Great plays by both players. Some really good games coming out this tournament. Congrats to both players. I truly feel as though that was a really well played game. 4 rounds still, or 4 games still going. Let's take a look at our next set of boys. Or gals. You never know. Or maybe neither. Don't want to build myself into a hole. Okay. Lots of Fortress. A good old rumbling on the field. Wow, lots of exceedingly heavily upgraded snipers. All they need is that elite marksman. Double shot, range, and a shooting squad. There's no Fang on the field, though, to really help benefit these marksmen from getting more. But hey, it's a lot of Fang. He's basically got like 3 units of Fang into this. Big old burning down the center. Lightning Storm able to take out a lot of shields and tech. That burning is really important. Jeez, look at them go. The double shot, not dealing nearly enough. Wow, it is just enough to chip through that super powerful fortress. All right. Can this little bastion of snipers hold out long enough? I think the answer is going to be yes. I don't really see any other crawlers on the field to distract these snipers. Snipers having the longer reload time is an issue. Wow, and that last Stormcaller shot, able to clear away so many extra units. Our blue player's in a tough spot. Give them some quick introductions. Master Spark is our blue player in the bottom. Our other player is our red player in the top. I don't want to make an assumption. Grabbing the laser sights. Interesting. Laser sights for our red player. All of these units have a ton of range already. Lots of shielding. Upgrading a Fang. I do like this. Just turn your Fang into little robot killers. And they are pretty darn quick. They're cheap to upgrade. And if your Fang are earning upgrades, you definitely want to keep upgrading them. Just because all of a sudden, they almost deal as much damage as they have health. A really interesting thing about Fang is that they're basically little glass cannons. Kind of fun. They don't have a ton of range. In this case, having the range upgrade on them is phenomenal, but yeah, they might even be able to ping away at this guy just in time. Range increase. Still no Fang here from our red player. If he were to deploy a unit of Fang and give it shields, that means all of the Fang that are deployed from these marksmen would have shields as well. Potentially not doing so because there was already a Vulcan on the field. 3 Vulcans now. So maybe opting not to do so. It's his game, it's his choice. There is not going to be a huge burning down the center on this round. So these Mustang, Fang, ooh, and an Overlord. What do we have for anti-air capabilities? Not a huge amount, but those Phoenix would definitely eat this Overlord. Wow, those little crawlers getting absolutely decimated. They didn't stand much of a chance. And unfortunately, these Fortress walk out in front of the rest of the chaff, absorb a ton of damage for the chaff, but then drop. And he was kind of relying on these Fortress to absorb that damage, because now the chaff is into the back line, and these snipers are all targeting down the same unit. Wow, a dozen snipers all shooting one unit of Fang. You hate to see it. Both the towers fall, and this is going to be it. That is that. There's no way he can come back from this. Oof. GG to both players. Our red player just not able to hold the line quite enough as the number of giants and mass units came in to crush him. Let's take a look at our live ranking. It looks like we're getting pretty close to the semifinals. We have 3 more games. Alrighty. I will see you guys in the next one. All right, let's take a look at our semifinals. We have A versus Kebab Sniffer. A will be our red player. Kebab will be the blue. I will be referring to them by name in this case just because I recognize both these players and they have easy names to say. So we'll go with that. I do like the giant spec here. I don't often pick the giant spec, or this rhino spec would be quite good. Opting for the giant, yeah, I think that's a really good choice here by A. Quick supply here for Kebab. Let's see how things go. Currently, there's nothing on the for A that shoots up, so these Phoenix are quite a nuisance. And in fact, grabbing an opening hand that has a flying unit in it can just be the most annoying thing in the world, because he's basically forcing A to either lose a round or grab something that shoots up. What's the most common unit? Snipers. Forcing your opponent to grab snipers might not be the best choice in some games, just because snipers are one of the best units in the game. However, Kebab has a ton of extra cash. I believe he picked up the quick supply specialist. Yeah, so he's got 200 extra dosh. He could literally just flood the field with crawlers right now. And having 6 units of crawlers could make a big difference. Instead, grabbing the arc lights, and he might choose to sit on this money. Now, these storm crawlers are in a really, I don't want to say cheesy position, but they're in quite a good position, because what can happen is as units advance down this line, these storm crawlers get in range, and storm crawlers can actually overshoot their supposed range. So missiles can fire over at what was meant to be the arc light and hit the units behind it, or take out the tower with a range upgrade. The engagement comes in. Stormcaller's missing a ton of shots, but this arc light does fall on the left-hand side, meaning that the crawlers are going to be able to get in on the... Oh, wow. Crawlers getting in on both flanks. Able to survive. This is huge. It's all going to come down to the Phoenix here. How quickly do the Phoenix claim this tower? Oh, just quick enough. Just quick enough. They're making an interesting choice, though, to go after the enemy tower instead of the enemy units. This is probably going to cost him both his Phoenix as the sniper comes in. Blammo. There goes one Phoenix. There goes the other. All right. The first game is going to go in the way of our blue player. Really interesting. I think Kebab has some good units to play with. Those arc lights definitely need some more range if he wants to pull off using arc lights as his chaff killer. Also remember, Kebab sat on $200, and he did this that way he would have extra cash to grab something like elite crawlers. I hate this card. I think it's a very, very powerful card. Both players opting to skip, thank God. It suddenly just turns into Crawler Wars. And in that way does madness lie. We see 2 units of arc lights come out here for A. Kebab grabs some more crawlers. He doesn't know it, but those crawlers are going to be countered by these arc lights. 3 units of crawlers. Okay. Now he could have made those level 5 crawlers if that was the choice. Interesting that he chose to skip and then grab 3 units of crawlers instead. I would argue that 1 unit of level 5 crawlers is definitely worth 3 units of level 1 crawlers, but hey, it's this is why I'm not a advanced tournament champion. So the more you know. I do like this. Kebab has bought into upgrading his units fully. He's used that extra $200 to turn his units just all slightly better than the enemy's units. Unfortunately, the crawlers on the left are coming in a little too early. They all get decimated, which means that the arc light can turn and take care of the rest of the crawlers in the center. Oh, it's not looking great. These Phoenix just don't have the range to get in. Oh, they take out a sniper. Can he get the other? No, instead shooting arc lights. And that will be that. This is kind of why we don't see Phoenix used as much in tournaments as we used to. One, Phoenix's attack intervals have been changed ever so slightly, so they shoot just slightly slower. And also, they just have significantly less range off the rip compared to a sniper. So it's quite often for snipers to be able just to clear away a full unit of Phoenix without any issue. Now we did see Kebab opt to skip again, whereas A grabbed a Vulcan and also the barrier from those cards. Kebab might be taking a chip off of Riley's block here and going with some steel balls. He does not know how important these steel balls are, as they're going to protect a ton of his units from the incoming fire of this Vulcan. Still sitting on that extra $200 from the early game, spending it now on another unit of crawlers. Where are those guys going? Backline. There they are. I was going to say, this backline is so open. Alright. And they come. We'll see how this engagement holds on. Unfortunately, this level 2 sniper is going to deal just tons of damage to these steel balls. Oh, he doesn't quite get the arc light. If that arc light had fallen, all of those crawlers... He's still going to have some crawlers. All of those crawlers are going to be in a much better position. Yes, he's finally won the crawler wars. And he won the crawler wars in the backline. Phoenix finally able to score some meaningful damage, killing the Vulcan on the left-hand flank. Wow. This is incredible. Go, little crawlers, go. Run for your lives. And that's that. Quite a bit of damage coming out on A, but A still has a significant health lead. Let's see if Kebab can continue this winning. Oh, the Parasitic ammo versus Lightning Storm and Sentry. Wow, these 3 cards are both extremely powerful for both players. I wouldn't be surprised if they had to take a second and really consider this. The Missile Strike coming out for A. I think he wants to use these upgraded missiles to kill steel balls. Kebab opting to skip again. He's earned an extra, what, $200 from these constant skips? Okay. There's an arc light. This arc light will be more than enough to take out these level 1 crawlers, especially if these crawlers don't see an attack upgrade. I don't think Kebab will lean too much more into the crawlers, though, because there's already a Vulcan on the field. That $500 investment to pop out your first Vulcan, it is a steep price, but hey, once it's there, it's done. He could get the HP on these steel balls, which if he does get the HP on the steel balls, it significantly decreases the damage that these Vulcan will do to him. There's some more steel balls coming down the center. Okay. We'll see how this goes. I think Kebab should recycle these crawlers. They don't really serve much of a purpose anymore. And he popped crawlers on the right. They will get snuffed by this sentry, but what he could do is opt to recycle these crawlers, which forces an arc light. Pop the crawlers here, which force the steel ball, or, you know, gets the sentry out of the way. But then he recycles those as well, and now he's able to continue to force arc lights on the field. And arc lights are, although good, probably not the unit that you want to be spending a ton of money on. Alright, let's see how this goes. There's still a ton of crawlers here on both players' flanks, but I do think that this is going to go in the way of A, just because he still has 2 snipers standing strong, And those snipers will be more than enough to clear away these Phoenix. If, of course, the snipers fall, the game is mute, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Well, it's slowly coming along. Here comes the sniper at a very good angle, though, and he should be able to clear away both these Phoenix without any trouble. And that is that. Alright, round 5. There's the extra arc light. Does he start recycling these crawlers? And a ton of steel balls here from Kebab. With the crawler upgrade, very important. Lots of upgrades on these snipers. Snipers are going to be an excellent answer to the steel balls, but these crawlers popping really does help deal with that steel ball aggression. So what's going to happen is that the snipers will shoot the steel balls. Sometimes, if the crawler is closer to the sniper will not shoot the next steel ball down the line, but instead opt to shoot those 7 crawlers that pop out. So, it could work. We're seeing some more Phoenix. I think this is a good choice, as those Phoenix will be able to clear away these Vulcan and arc lights quite quickly. Here's the missile, and it's on the side of Kebab. Interesting. These Stormcallers do have to, quote-unquote, pull up a little bit, and I think this will be enough to clear away the entire unit. Yeah, not a bad missile placement by any means. That's a lot of steel balls just munching through that shield. Unfortunately, all of these crawlers are just flat out dead. There's no way that they're going to be able to survive that, and the rest of those crawlers are decimated as well. Down goes the tower, and there's still a ton of Phoenix on the floor here on the right-hand side and the left-hand side. Mass Phoenix isn't going to be enough. I think the answer is yes. And there's nothing else that shoots up. He at least wins this by, what, 7 Phoenix? Great play here by Kebab, just to swap over a little bit more into the air. A did have about twice the HP of Kebab. Kebab is able to even it up a little bit again. Ooh, this Orbital Javelin is absolutely phenomenal here for Kebab Sniffer. Not really so important for A. The photon emission, though, for A could be quite good. Yeah, Kebab realizes it and grabs the Javelin. If that Javelin comes in and kills the Vulcan, yeah, if he just pops that little bad boy right here, kill off the Vulcan, and potentially a sniper and maybe 2... maybe 3 Stormcallers. Could be very powerful. Photon emission on the right. I think that's the right spot for it. Kebab just needs a little bit more AoE. They're slowly appearing to be a little bit more chaff on the field. And as there's more and more units on the field, these single point damage units will become a little bit more obsolete. Wow, he's able to pull away a unit of Phoenix and a unit of these crawlers. No? Opting not to. Instead, putting some more meat on the field. Quite a good play. We see some shields coming out here for Kebab. A still has 400 bucks. I would unlock the oil if I was A, because that's something that you can pop down pretty much every couple of turns. And popping some oil right across the top here might do quite a bit of work for him. He already has the fire from the Vulcan to reignite that. Instead, opting to upgrade his units. Not a bad play. Here comes the Javelin. Ooh, devastating. Without that shield, all of a sudden, all of these units are able to get online a lot quicker, but more importantly, all of these crawlers are able to survive the flames, as the Vulcan isn't going to be there to stop these steel balls from spawning in tons and tons of crawlers. Unfortunately, also, this Vulcan popped fire basically on friendly units. So those Stormcallers all went the way of the dodo, pretty much due to friendly fire. And now we're seeing the Mass Phoenix. Come on in, baby. They're going to clean this up in a big way. Oh. All right, good job, Kebab. Is he able to pull this back? A still has a ton of things to work with. Ooh, the nuke here for A. I think this is a good place to put it. Unfortunately, nukes take such a long time to detonate that it can actually, for fast units, like what we see on Kebab's, just horde-like units, could actually miss. I think this is a good spot for them. The electromagnetic blast here for Kebab is going to go out on the left. Wow, and I do like this. A continues just to grab units with a high model count, and that's really going to help him quite a bit. These Mustangs also have the added benefit of being pretty decent anti-Phoenix units. The Mustang do take a little while to chip through Phoenix, especially with their most recent damage reduction, but hey, just having them chip away a little bit, coming online early, probably quite a good play. Ooh, and these Mustang here for A are actually gonna do exceedingly well against these Wasps. Oh no, Kebab. He did choose to recycle some of his units, but unfortunately, these Phoenix are in a really bad spot. They're just gonna get these Wasps are in a really bad spot. They're gonna get absolutely wiped by the Mustang. That's $400 down the drain. Unfortunate. Well, the Mustang will get hit by the electromagnetic blast, but that's going to come in a little bit too slow here, and the decrease in range is minimal. Yep, that's a lot of dead Wasps. And here comes the nuke. Ooh! Detonating Phoenix, and these crawlers, they're dying from something. I guess they're just kissing that fire. Unfortunate. All the Mustang are going to pull up into the fire, unfortunately, and just get absolutely roasty toasty. But this is going to be a huge win here for A. I think it might even be enough to kill Kebab. It's going to be close. Oh no, it's not going to be close. Great game by both players. I really liked that change here for A. Just continuing to put out units that have a lot of entities really made a big difference. GG. And I will see you guys back here. There's 3 players who haven't lost a game. So this is potentially coming into our finals, but we shall see. We have seen quite a few of these players come out before. So hopefully we'll see either a returning champion or one of these new players. Oh, wow. Yeah, we've seen all 3 of these players on the channel before. Anyways, for you guys, it will be instant. For me, I will see you in a moment. All right, guys, this is for all the money, potentially. This is either the semifinal or final match. We see A, our blue player, versus our red player. A has opted for the Giant Specialist. Interesting choice. I do think that these are some pretty good units. Unfortunately, he doesn't really have a lot of range or anything that shoots up. This could be countered by our red player, who, if was thinking about potentially taking the Supply Specialist, instead opting for the heavy armor. This fight will be fought on the ground. Very interesting. Lots of tanks versus crawlers. The only difference here being the steel balls or the tanks. Unfortunately, it looks like our player A here, who we watched in the most previous game, A is a little outmatched. Steel balls tend to do very well against tanks. So what does our blue player opt for? What does our red player opt for? A is opting for arc lights. I think this is a wise decision. He has to be careful though, because obviously if those arc lights get online against steel balls first, he's going to be in a bad spot and unfortunately spreading them out, whereas our blue player has opted to go straight down the center. Now, if these crawlers die, steel balls have a lot of trouble dealing with enemy crawlers. Both players opting for arc lights. Man, it's a tale of 2 cities, as both players are basically mirroring each other minus the difference of 1 unit. This will be a very interesting match to see play out. I think it's going to go in the way of A, just because these tanks are going to kill off these crawlers early, and now the crawlers are going to be able to come in and start dealing with steel balls. And there's a lot of crawlers here. A ton of crawlers. Maybe not enough crawlers though. The tanks don't quite have the DPS to deal with it. This arc light is going to eventually come back online. It might... I have to say it's still probably going to go in the way of A. And it definitely will at this point. Our blue player is going to take a little bit of damage, not too much. Man, these tanks take a long time to reload. Really just used for their HP at this stage in the game. And this is about as close as HP ever gets. Both players are now basically at the same whack. Ooh, subsidized crawlers is always fun. Haste module is great, especially if you want to have some zoomy units. Missile strike is also quite strong. We'll have to see what the players opt for. I want to see where this haste module will be played. This heavy armor spec with a haste module. Ooh, and some marksmen. Okay. Help get rid of a couple of these units. These tanks or these arc lights. Both players opting for the haste module. Now A is a giant specialist. He could opt for some gigantic units. Instead, unlocking Fang. So we won't see a Vulcan or a Fortress or an Overlord at this point. Oh, and the movement. The mobile beacon. Here for A. I think he's going to try and draw these crawlers away and into a waiting arc light. Okay. A really good play here. At least a very different play than what we're used to seeing. Let's see how it goes. Yeah. All of the crawlers just go straight down the center. And the steel balls are chasing down these crawlers as well. Going right into the enemy crawlers. This is not where you want to see your steel balls. Completely surrounded and without arc light support. Man, A is a master of positioning. If you guys want to learn how to play Mechabellum, holy crap, I hope you're tuned in. That was just... I'm going to have to clip that. That is insanely good. That was so cool. All right, well, unfortunately, I'm not sure that A will actually end up winning this round, as these snipers will have the number on these tanks and marks. Or well, there's 4. No, the marksmen don't have enough to actually clear it up. The tank's having just enough HP and damage to really make that work. Ooh. Now our blue player should realize that A is a giant specialist. Whether or not A actually picks that up after seeing this card come out, this might delay him from picking up a giant unit. The nano repair kit is generally quite a good thing to have on a gigantic unit, but you know, he could go with something like the heavy hacker. If he does the same business, draws all these units away, yeah, he's gonna draw them all away. What did he pick up? I think he just picked up some extra cash there. He's still holding on to this haste module. It would have been kind of interesting if he had chosen to draw all of the enemy units in again, then put a couple of hackers on each flank. He may have been able to just turn enough of those units that it wouldn't be a problem anymore. Now, this haste module does also give it a small attack buff of 40%. That might be useful. And I think also deploying units in the center flank could be quite strong as well. Here's the snipers. And the Vulcan gets drawn in. There's a little bit of Fang here to help pick away at these crawlers. And the snipers are now on the steel balls. Unfortunately, all the crawlers come down the center as well, which is just Vulcan o'clock. I wouldn't be surprised if this Vulcan immediately becomes the best unit on the field. Snipers are able to take away some of these arc lights. Now, unfortunately, it's Vulcan versus tanks, and Vulcans just take forever to kill level 2 tanks. Will there be enough sniper support here to finish this off? It's 2 snipers and a couple of tanks versus 2 snipers. It's gonna go the way of A. No doubt about it. Ooh, the sniper duel. The sniper will take 2 shots to kill the enemy tower, though. Will he get that second shot? He does! And this might claim him a few extra tanks for his troubles. Okay. Man, this sniper's definitely got the quick hands. Okay, finally. I was about to say, there's no way this doesn't go the way of A. Okay, so he knows about the Vulcan now, and unfortunately A has chosen to skip instead of getting that giant hunter. Subsidized steel balls coming out for both players. We see 2 steel balls. No? Yep, 2 steel balls coming out for A. 2 more steel balls coming out for our blue player. And that's a lot of extra steel balls. Once again, the old trickaroony. Having these crawlers run away from the center is really interesting. And A has been sitting on this haste module for the entire, for what, 3 rounds now? It might be time to put that on something, even if you just choose to recycle it later. Attack upgrade and defense upgrade. Okay, our blue player doesn't have either. Go steel balls, go. Steel balls are another excellent answer to things like the Vulcan. The crawlers all get cleaned up, and as these tanks continue to grow stronger, they're eventually going to be able to clear away these steel balls really, really quickly. More steel balls on the left, though, and on the right are able to come in and try and collapse these flanks. Will it be enough? I think so. At least on the right. These snipers are not upgraded enough in order to deal with it. That Vulcan is just becoming such a damage sink. And down it goes. If this sniper did have the upgrade and the haste module, he may have been plinking through this Vulcan in time. But now that that Vulcan's level 2, that's going to be rough. And because the Vulcan lives, it deals a ton of damage to our red player A. Amp core here coming out for our blue player. What does A pick up? He's might be hesitant to go with giants, but you know, you are a giant spec. And a couple of units of fortress would go a long way. Instead, grabbing a barrier. Ah, and there's the hackers. 3 hackers. Yeah, baby, yeah. This could go really well for him. At least for A. I do like the increased damage here on these Vulcan's flames, doing 258 damage. That is absolutely phenomenal. Now that the hackers all have shields, though, they will be protecting these units for just a few seconds longer, and there are not a lot of entities on the field here for our blue player, so it's more likely that the hackers will be coming online, grabbing units that they actually want, like these steel balls. And bam, the Vulcan's getting distracted. The hackers, if they can come back online, might be able to grab a couple more of these steel balls. The great thing about the hackers is that they also delay a ton of enemy damage. There it is. The Vulcans have to keep stopping to clear away their own steel balls. And now the snipers are being taken for a ride. The shield needs to last just a little bit longer. Ooh, and that's not what you want to see. This hacker will never be able to claim the Vulcan. Not in a million years. And this is going to be a ton of damage on A. A ton of damage. I like the hackers. They're an interesting play. And they can work, especially if he gets mass hacker. But he still needs an answer to these Vulcan. There's nothing on the field here that's dealing enough damage to quickly take them off the field. Photon emission or orbital bombardment or advanced control. You know, that extra attack. Yeah, an extra attack on these... Oh, I was thinking that A was going to put the attack... Oh no, he grabbed the Vulcan for the barrier. Okay, it's a lot more HP. Stormcaller's coming out to try and knock off those shields. Probably a wise decision. What does he put the advanced control on? I'd like to see it either go on one of these snipers or one of these hackers. Having the hacker just deal a ton of damage quickly can make a big difference. Our blue player still has money to burn, opting to grab the speed and range. I think those are both great upgrades to get pretty much every round that you have the cash for it. And a ton of Stormcallers. I think this is a great option. Hackers and Stormcallers do not mix. Let's see how it works. Ton of shielding here to try and protect some units. Honestly, both players benefit hugely from the Stormcallers. We just see our blue player, who has a significant health lead, is able to make that transition first. And also, there's an orbital bombardment coming in. Oof. Missing. Mostly missing. The shield drops exceedingly quickly, though, on this Vulcan. Luckily, there's more shields to be had. The left side's looking a little stronger than the right. The right is beginning to collapse in a big way as hackers are turning over crawlers. He's finally on a steel ball, which will slowly change things around, but these hackers are unfortunately not a great answer to the Vulcan. Neither of these snipers have that increased damage, and that's going to be that. A very convincing win here for our blue player. There's no way that A survives this damage. GG all around. A very brutal game. Round 6. That's a quick one. Oh, wow. So there's probably a quick cut here. There is actually still one more game going on. Oh, no. If our blue player is able to survive against Luck Hard, who is a phenomenally good player, an absolutely phenomenally good player, if he's able to survive, he could play for the championship. If not, he's going to be kicked out here. Oil popping, okay. Not a lot of players, I'm not sure if players don't realize it. I tend to not to pick it up either because I'm not very good at the game. But grabbing this oil here is going to make quite a bit of a difference. The oil is great. You can get it early on and use it quite often. Tons of wasps. Oh, Luck is in a pretty good position. So the thing, it's really hard to come back in Mechabellum. It's not impossible, as I featured on this channel many, many times, but having that extra health means that, hey, I can make really kind of like a setup play where I believe I'm going to lose a round, but I have full HP. So I don't really care if I lose one round if it sets me up for a commanding victory at the end. There's the oil. The oil burns. Tons of crawlers will be caught in the oil. He's going to get 3 units of crawlers for his money. Probably worth it. And this Vulcan is kind of stepped out, and it will just absolutely melt. Question now is there enough anti-air to deal with these Phoenix and Wasps? And it looks like the answer is definitely no. Unfortunately, his main point of anti-air is this melting point, who just gets melted. And that's going to be that. There just wasn't enough anti-air on the field. GG. Good job, Luck. All right, guys, that's that. We have our winner. Congratulations. I love to see all of these returning faces. I think that everybody who's participated in this tournament, congratulations to all of you. I hope that you see your name here if you did play. Again, if you like these videos, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you for some more Mechabellum action. Hopefully I'm playing in one of these tournaments, depending on time. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.